tuned in to your dose of positivity. I am Marlene Motivates, and as I always say, just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life.
Be encouraged, be inspired, be yourself, you will survive. Just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life.
And to gain further support, join my channel membership. Hey everybody, it's Marlene of Marlene Motivates, your channel for all things inspirational, positive, life lessons, and self-improvement. If you are new here, hit the subscribe button, become a part of the Motivators family. So welcome to everybody. Happy Friday. I hope all is well with everybody. And I'm going to see who is in the chats. We have the Word. Hey Word, how you doing? Happy Friday to you. Got a member and a mod in the house. And if you guys could please hit the like, I'd really appreciate it. So today, everybody, we're going to be talking about isolating to transform. And the reason why I wanted to cover this topic is because, I know somebody personally going through something like this. And I have to say that it's very important. I put this in my notes. I'm going to put it on the screen. It's very important after a breakup, we must spend time by ourselves. And namely today, I'm talking about in dating, but this can also be applied to with friendships, anything that is like a big hardship on yourself, you're going through some sort of difficulty. It's very important to take a period of time to isolate yourself so that you can find out what's going on with you and allow yourself to be able to handle your life. That's important. So we're going to start off right there by point number one. After a breakup, there is a period of time where you need to allow yourself to have a grievance period. Yeah, that grievance period is so vital. Because I know how it is when you just get out of a relationship, you feel like you just want to go right into the next one. But it's important for us to give ourselves some time to process everything, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, for us to get back on solid ground again. Because when you get hurt like that, when you experience that sort of pain after, even if you were only dating for a while, or maybe if the breakup was a marriage, or even if it's like a common law sort of marriage, and you were together for a while, it is going to take some time for you to get reintroduced to life again, life without them. And it is a grieving period. I know a lot of people don't think that and believe it, and they don't give themselves that time to get a break, get a break and to see how you are doing, because there is a lot of things that you go through during this period of time, the things that was said, the things that happened, processing all the pain, processing all your sadness, processing it and putting it all together so that you can be okay. And there is going to be a period of time after a breakup where you're not going to feel okay, but you will be. Hey, East, how are you doing? Have a great weekend yourself. Thank you so much for being here. Got a member in the house. Yeah, so it's all of those things. And, you know, I can say that I wish I knew then what I know now, that you can allow yourself some time to heal. Hey, puzzle pieces, how are you doing? Welcome. Thank you so much. I have the link in the chat for you whenever you are ready. So it's so important for each of us to take a break. This is a grieving period. And after the breakup, after dating somebody, after a divorce, after a breakup of somebody that you've been with, even somebody, maybe you were living with them and then it just didn't pan out. You have to allow yourself to have a grievance period where you get into knowing what you want to do, what you're about, what you're going through, all of those things. Hey, Realist One, how are you doing? Welcome. Got a mod on deck. Appreciate you all. If you could hit the like and share this out, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. And happy Friday. So, like I said, we're talking about isolation to transform. And one of the first things that we have to do, everybody, is give ourselves a moment to breathe again. Because after a breakup, after, some words were said to you, all these things are swimming through your head. You're asking yourself all these questions and reliving it over and over in your head like a scratch record. And for some, the breakup is, brings you joy. And there are some that the breakup brings a lot of pain and sadness. But whichever case that you find yourself in, it's important during this time to isolate ourselves, be by yourself, take some time for you. That's so important, motivators, to take some time to get to know yourself all over again. And this is how the transformation can happen within you. And I know that the automatic response is for us to, when you have a breakup, for the first thing is to say, okay, on to the next. Who's next? Who's the next person? Try to set up a date, try to get out there right away, to reassure ourselves that we still got it, right? But this is important during this time to slow down a little bit, take a little break, and allow yourself to just be, you know, by yourself and have your personal time. That grievance period is so important. I think I saw somebody just walk in the door. No? Okay. I thought I saw somebody else. But welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much. Happy Friday. So ask yourself the question, in the healing period, why did we break up? Why did we break up? And that's going to be different for every single person. It could be a breakup because of, money. That's usually the biggest reason why people break apart. Money can be the biggest one. But right behind that is, it could be cheating. It could be maybe you just grew apart. Just we're going in separate directions. It's nothing other than that. You just aren't all right fit for each other. It could be, disagreements about so many things, or maybe you don't agree with how you're raising children that you have together. So it's a lot of reasons why people break up, but it's important for you to take that break and find out the reason why you got to this point of the breakup. because ask me how I know, okay? Um, just hopping from one relationship to the next, it's like you don't allow yourself to know what happened that was wrong, and then you will repeat that cycle. You will repeat and get yourself into the same situation, just a new person. So allow yourself to heal after the breakup. Ask yourself, why did we break up? What role did I play in this situation? What did I add to it? So in other words, accountability. Why did we break up? What was it that I did? And I know that a lot of times we don't believe that it's us, right? Because we're perfect in everything and we have everything going on. And of course, we're a treasure, right? We're a treasure, and they were lucky to have us. Okay, but to experience personal growth, to be mature as an adult, we we really do need to ask ourselves these questions so we don't repeat the same cycle. We want to have a very good relationship. And I say that to all you motivators. You deserve to have a good, happy, and healthy romantic relationship. If it's that you're always arguing about things, you're always disagreeing about things, you can't come to uh, um, any sort of agreement. It's always one pointing the finger at the other. It's just not a good match. That could be a good reason for you to step away and start getting into yourself. So during this time, of the healing process, healing your heart, healing, the maybe the thoughts, the views that you had, maybe you saw yourself with this person for the rest of your life till your dying days, right? And it's okay. It's okay to think that way and ask yourself why. Because if you want to have a great relationship, which I believe everybody wants to have an amazing relationship, and when you want to have that, you've got to ask yourself the questions: why did it not work out? What did I do? What did I add to it? Okay. What could I have done better? And that's how you grow as an individual, being responsible for yourself. And it's not an easy pill to swallow. It's not easy to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I did this. And I'm going to in the next relationship, I'm going to listen more. I'm going to be more patient and allow yourself the time to actually realize that. um, I know the tendency, especially if it's a breakup that that person really got on your nerves. It wasn't a good breakup. It was a lot of angry words, a lot of immature things that happened. You automatically want to say, okay, all right, let me open up my little black book and let me get to getting, right? But you do need to spend some time. And that's why I wanted to cover this topic about isolating to heal. Hi, Mystery Lady. I think that it's so important to allow yourself to get a break, right? Give yourself a break, give yourself the time that you need, and encourage yourself. Uh, and encourage yourself during this time. I have to say that to anybody who needs to hear it, just because you did not work out with one individual, it does not make you a bad person. It just means that you just weren't a good fit for that certain individual. It doesn't make you less of a woman. It doesn't make you less of a man. It just means that the two of you just didn't blend well together, or one person or the other just couldn't it just doesn't work. You just don't work well together, and you can't force something. I know back in the day, a long time ago, there never used to be communication like it is now, that it's very open to have conversations, ask questions. People just didn't do that. And I want to encourage everybody to get into having those kind of conversations, having that sort of communication so that you can grow as a person and be a better individual. Yes, welcome in, Mystery Lady. Thank you so much for being here. I think this is your first time here, so welcome to this channel. Thank you so much. Okay, let me go to my third point that I have here. So in this isolation to transform, it's so important that we get to know ourselves again. This is a very important time for each and every one of us motivators when you go through that breakup. You need to start getting to know yourself, get reacquainted with yourself. What's your wants, what's your needs, and start having some fun. I can say that I did it as well, and I was guilty of it, not taking care of myself like I should, because maybe you were pouring so much of yourself into the relationship that you didn't allow yourself to take care of yourself. You stopped loving yourself, and also maybe the person that you were with was not giving you love like you needed to be loved, because not everybody in every relationship looks out for the interests of the other to tell them, have a break, sit down, take care of yourself, do this for yourself, do that for yourself. And it's very important that we get reacquainted with ourselves. And that's why I say isolate to transform. This is a very important period of time, motivators, a time where you're going to feel free. Your freedom is back. You can get reacquainted with yourself. You can start doing more of the things that you want to do. Get to know yourself. Maybe you put off some of your dreams. You didn't do the things that you needed to do when you were in that relationship, especially if you were involved in a toxic relationship. They only thought about themselves. They were very selfish or not understanding, or maybe it was us. I know that it's a hard thing to receive, that maybe we were the ones in the relationship that maybe we just weren't mature. Okay. You just didn't have things together. Maybe it was you weren't emotionally secure in yourself. So you couldn't process your emotions well. Maybe it's that, you just weren't mentally stable because you were going through your own personal issues. It could be that maybe financially you were just in no position to be in a relationship because you couldn't even take care of yourself, much less the two of you. So there's a lot of reasons why breakups happen, but afterwards, the after effects, this isolation period where we are transforming into a healthier, happier woman or a man, get to know yourself all again, all over again, reignite those dreams. And it's inside of us. And we can we can look at ourselves from the inside and evaluate, what do I want to do? What do I like? Who am I today? What is the goal for me? What is my focus? And a lot of times after a breakup, maybe during that time, your focus was off. Sometimes our focus is off in the relationship because maybe they weren't supportive of you, they weren't understanding, they weren't kind to you, they weren't reasonable, they weren't compassionate. Maybe you just didn't match well. There was always an argument. Maybe they didn't appreciate you. Maybe they did not speak your love language. So it's a lot of reasons why that breakup happens. And now that that breakup is over, now is the time period where your joy can come back in, where your prosperity is going to happen. So isolate to transform. Give yourself that room and that time. And it causes for us to learn to be patient with ourselves. And I can say for myself, I know I'm not a patient person. I try my best to be patient, but we want what we want when we want it. We want things right here, and we want it right now. We will blame other people, but this is not the time to look at anybody else, because that's over and done. They're gone. Now it's the time to focus in on ourselves, love on ourselves, give ourselves some mercy, some kindness, some compassion, some self-love, some self-care, all of it. It's time for us to focus in on our overall wellness and our mental status, your mental ability. What are some of the things that you need right now? Maybe you may just need some time to just think, just think without any disruption. Maybe you need to get some much needed relaxation. It's a vacation. Take care of yourself. So do all of that during this isolation period to transform, because you become a better woman. You become a better man when you feel relaxed, when your stress is down, when you refocus, when you get back into your dreams, when you take care of yourself. So use this time period, motivators, to allow yourself to reignite your dreams. What do I want? What do I dream about? What do I think about? What is good and best for me? And that's what we definitely have to get into. Hey, Sirius, how are you doing? Welcome. I really do appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Mod in the house. E says stumbles back in. Yes. So thank you guys so much for being here. I would really appreciate it if you have not already hit the like. Yeah, everybody, get to know yourself. Get to know who you are, because maybe in the relationship, maybe we allowed ourselves to change for a person, or maybe we were sad in the relationship. Maybe you felt unfulfilled. You didn't feel seen or heard. You were able to receive everything that you needed and wanted. So maybe that's this time period where you need to love on yourself, right? Hey, Conscious Business Services, how are you doing? Welcome. Appreciate you being here. So now is your opportunity. During this isolation time, it's your time to start asking yourself questions like, who am I today? What do I want? You know, how can I work on myself? How can I love myself and give myself what I need? Yeah. What do you need as a woman? What do you need as a man? Okay. Very important for us to ask ourselves those questions. And that's why it's important to give ourselves a break and breathe again. Breathe again, on your own, not having to worry about another individual. We're talking about our self motivators. Breathe on your own. Who am I today? Have I matured? Maybe the goals that you had before in the relationship are not the ones that you have now, because you've grown up, you've matured, you're accountable. Okay, all of those things, all of those things. So we want to be all of those things that make us feel good about ourselves. See, isolate to transform, motivators. See, in this getting to know ourselves, this is the time period where we can spread our wings and fly. This is where your elevation can happen if you let it. Yeah. There's a lot of times we don't allow ourselves to transform into something better. We don't allow ourselves to heal by taking a break from others. And however you feel, if you're angry, if you're mad, if you're sad, if you want to cry, you want to throw some things, you want to feel frustrated, you have to give yourself the opportunity during that healing period. Isolate yourself, be by yourself for a little bit, even taking breaks from family and friends, just to be by yourself and get yourself all the way back together, because it's a new life. It's a new life for you, and you can do it. Okay. And this is how we transform. This is how we mature, and this is how we begin to feel better about ourselves. Okay. Okay. Charlene says, I need a spa day. Looking for one in this new neighborhood. This is so necessary. I hope you get a chance to do that, Charlene. I really do. Siri says, I need open communication, trust, understanding, and me time. Yes, and I hope you get that, Sirius. I think all of us do need that. And I think I have one one more point, and I'm going to invite up my co-host. So, point number 4, when we're trying to isolate to transform into a better person, having high energy, positivity, motivation, elevation, we feel good about ourselves, we're taking care of ourselves, we're being accountable, we're working on our mental health, we're doing all of those things so that we what? We don't make the same mistakes. See, it's insanity to do the same things over and over again, to keep choosing the same type of person to be in a relationship and expecting different results. See, we have to stop lowering our standards about what we expect, what we need from somebody. And also, we got to be accountable for ourselves. Grow up, mature, have conversations. I think that's so important for us to do. So, invite up my co-host, Miss Nexie. Let's welcome her to the show.
Hi, Marlene. Hi, chat.
Hi.
Hope everybody's doing well today.
Yes.
Again, great topic, Miss. Great
Thank
topic, and
you.
you have great points. And I remember my therapist said that jumping from one relationship to the next, you carry on a lot of the baggage from the previous one, right? But most importantly is that we sometimes change ourselves a little to the likings of the other person, right? So in order for us to find ourselves and go back to what we really like, who we really are, and to give 100% of our of ourselves to us first, so that we can give back to the next person that we're going to date, we need at least a year or two to kind of like desensitize from the previous relationship. I see a lot of people jumping from one to the other and always wondering why, they either pick the same kind of person or things end up the same way, and things like that. So I didn't understand in the beginning what, you know, like why so long, but being there myself, I understand now. You need that time to find yourself again.
Yes. And I'm so glad that you brought up that point, Nexie, because a lot of times we will probably know that we need to take a break, but after you've been maybe so unhappy for a long time, you just like want to get out there. It's like there has to be somebody out there better than us. But like I was saying, isolate to transform. A lot of times when we don't take that break, we'll just wind up choosing somebody just like the person you just left.
Exactly, because you're bringing the same, you're kind of like you're picking the same person to begin with, right? Because you still have that memory in your brain of that person, so you kind of gonna go feel attracted to kind of like either one or two behaviors that this other person had on that new person. And not all the time, but most of the time you end up in the same place, which is, dating this person for a few years or months and then breaking up again and going through the same cycle. So it is important for us to, to take that time, that necessary time, to, first of all, because in a relationship you also grow, right? Even though you don't realize that, but you grow as a person as well, because you get older, and there's different things you guys did together, so you might discover new things that you like and lose things that you used to like but don't like anymore. So those things are important, and to be able to give a better chance to a relationship is why we need to take those breaks. I've heard people, oh, don't do that, jump, just go for it, jump from one to the other. Why would you stay single? Just do it. And I feel like saying, no, 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 don't do that. Stay single for a little bit, enjoy life, and then find out who your grown-up self now really likes.
Yeah, a lot of times it's the person that you chose, and when the relationship didn't work out, there was a lot of red flags from a long time ago, but you did not listen to them. So now you need to get into asking yourself why. Why did I settle? Why did I choose that person? And
Hmm.
I can say for myself is a lot of times we settle because we think that's what we deserve, or we couldn't get better, or we didn't love ourselves enough. So a combination of so many things.
Exactly. And those are the things that are necessary, when you go through a breakup. I feel that you lose part of yourself in that relationship. Sometimes, like if you're a person that like stay home and relax on your days off, and this person is and outdoors, and you're kind of forced to do things like that, because sometimes you feel bad saying no all the time. You have to go back and say, wait, 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 do I really like to be outdoors, or am I still that person that likes to stay indoors and chillax, as they say? So you have to find out all those things, because if not, most likely that relationship will end up the same way as the other. For me, I was married for a long time, and it's taking me a very long time to get back to where I was, who I was, my likes, dislikes. So I fear that a lot of people jump from one to the other. They get so confused that when they settle down with the wrong person. That's how I feel. That you need that break, you need that opportunity, um, to pick the right person for you, especially when when you want to settle and you want to take the next step, and marriage or living together and bringing up another life into this world. You need to make sure that you have picked the right person for you. But that will only happen if you have already found out who you are at the age and time when you're making these decisions.
Yeah. And I think that that's the usually the biggest thing that most people forget, Nexie, is that a lot of times you jump into a relationship and you don't even know who you are. You don't know what you want. You just are going by the emotions and how being with that person makes you feel.
Mm-mm. Oh, he's so
That's not
cute.
enough. Yeah,
Oh, he's
oh,
so
and you're going by
handsome.
the looks. Oh, look. Oh my God, look how they look. They look. Oh my God, it's the looks. But how do they treat you? How are their actions?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the what I have discovered in this time that I've been alone is that my time is precious to me. I like my quiet times. I like the ability to stay indoors, not to do so many outdoor activities, because I'm not really for that. That I have found out something else. I do not like camping. So all those things is that will bring problems, or trouble into the new relationship. Those are the things that you need to find out and then define in the new one, because a lot of the times we lose our voice in some relationships, so we need to find that. our inner and our outer voice, so that we can express better, our likes, dislikes. And those are the things that I'm discovering now, that you lose a lot of yourself in a relationship.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And speaking of that, you say that I when I isolated, I found out that I don't like being at home. I used to think I was a homebody person until I isolated, and I was like, actually, I like going out every day. I
Oh,
was like,
Marlene,
hmm. I was like, this is interesting.
I found out the opposite. No, I'm still that person. I'm a
Nope,
homebody. I like
nope,
to stay
nope.
home.
I was like, I didn't know. I was like, I found out I'm a party animal. I was like, hey, hey,
Uh-oh.
movies, hey, drinks, hey, hey.
Yeah, but you see, those are the things that you had lost in your previous relationship.
Mhm.
The ability to say, I'm not this. I really like to go out. But you
Yeah,
have to accommodate the other person's likings. And even if maybe you could have said, you know what, let's go out 2 times a week, and then we can stay in here 2 times, or whatever it is that
yeah,
you were never able to get there, because you're trying to be a good sport, or like a good partner, and you want to go with the flow so that things can work, and that's when you lose yourself going with the flow.
yeah. And and it is true what Sirius said, that you have to compromise. Yes, it's a very important to compromise, but I found for myself mine was unhealthy, to where I was always compromising, because if I didn't do what they wanted, it's going to be, acting like a 2-year-old, stomping around the house, arguing, silent treatment, all of that. Like, no, I was like, and for peace, peace in the relationship, you just say, you know what, just stay home.
Hmm. Yeah. Or, okay, fine, let's go camping.
Yeah, and you're very miserable. Mm.
Yes, and you're like, oh my god, is there any bears here on the beach? No. Okay. No, you have to. And you see, these are the things. Yeah, relationship is about compromises, and Sirius is so right on this. But a lot of times, we over compromise. I don't know if you were like that, Marlene, but
Yeah.
sometimes I felt, I mean, actually, not sometimes, I discovered that I was over compromising,
Mhm.
and it was always that person's, wants and likes, and I
Yeah.
would just go along for the peace of the relationship, for the peace of the family, or whatever.
Yeah.
As now I can say, no, I don't like that. We can go if you want to, but I'm not gonna like it. So
Yeah.
or you can just go with the kids or whatever. But
Yeah. Or
before
you
I
can
would,
just go with your friends.
yes,
I'll
before
stay
I
here.
wouldn't. I wouldn't. And like I said, I found my voice. I found me again. And that's important, because even if you stay single for the rest of your life, or even if you decide that, being in a relationship is not for you, the point here is that taking your time to isolate and really look inside of you and discover the growth that you have made, the new, maybe things that you have found you actually like, never knew you did. Things like that is important, because even if you're not in that relationship, you can be a better friend, a
Yeah.
better sister, a better
Mhm.
auntie, a better mom. So all those things are important. Relationships take a lot from us, and
Yes.
and it goes the other way too. We take a lot from them too, because I'm sure they compromise as much as we do.
Right. Yes, yes, when it's a healthy relationship. And I have to bring this out because a lot of times the reason for the breakup is because it was not balanced. It was the scales were definitely unbalanced. It can't be you as the person always giving and that person always doing the taking. So they're happy. Of course, they're happy and think nothing is wrong in the relationship because they're getting everything that they want. But if you're the one that's always giving and they're never asking, hey, is there something that you want? Is there something that you need? Are you happy? Those questions are never asked.
Exactly. They don't, because again, you've been over compromising, and they think it's okay to make those decisions without asking, because in part, you know, it is your fault for not voicing, your opinions more. Um, a lot of times I feel like I said before, that we want something that to work so much, right? We want it to stick. We want it to be the one that, oh look, it's this person has been married for so long. We want it to say, oh my God, this couple is perfect. We are so concerned about what others think that I feel that that's when we overcompromise.
Yes. Oh, over compromise and also overcompensate.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, I have a longtime acquaintance that, she, since high school, has been jumping from one boy to the next, to the next, to the next.
Mhm.
And I'm talking 4 kids later, four different dads. And this is the things that we need to, why we need to talk about these things, about these topics, is because, you know she probably doesn't even know, which I've told her before, what you like, what you want, or who you are. Now there's
Yep.
4 little ones here, and 4 different dads. um, it could have been avoided if you would have taken the time, right?
Yep.
After the first breakup, to breathe and find out who you are, grow up a little bit as a person, and then go
Mhm.
on to the next relationship. But, jumping into a new one from like months or weeks from a breakup is not a smart decision. I'm not, criticizing. I'm not saying that she's wrong. She says no, but I'm just saying that you need to take that time,
Yep.
to consider, because now there's 4 kids here, 4 different dads, 4 different ways of looking at life in one household. So those are the things that we need to understand, especially if you're bringing, a little one into the world, is that that little person is gonna get all confused, or is
Mhm.
probably gonna follow the same path that you had, because you haven't been able to, at this day and age, think a little bit better.
Yeah. Because they follow the example of their parents. All children do. They follow they go by more of what you do than what you say. Even though we've been hearing it since the beginning of the time. Do as I say, right? And not as I do. I heard that my whole life, and I don't agree with that. I think you need to be the example for your children or for whoever is in your life that is looking up to you, because you could say all day long, I'm this person and I believe that and here are my values, but when you're backed into a corner, that's how you show how much you love somebody. That's how you show how much you care about another individual, and you show how much you respect yourself. And I found that when I finally got an opportunity to isolate myself, I found out I was not respecting myself. Actually, I found out that I didn't have any boundaries. I let them do whatever they wanted to do. And I was always put last. And it's not a very comfortable thing to actually admit that to yourself, but it's something true that I know moving forward that can never happen to me again. Because I'll speak up quick. I'll be like, yeah, like I'll see you in about 3 days. Yeah, I'm going away. The things that you did before, I think, is before you knew your voice, before you knew about boundaries, before you knew about respecting yourself, all of those things, which I
E-
think everybody has to get to that.
Exactly, Marlene. And another thing is, again, it's to bring awareness, right? Which is why we pick certain topics. But there is another side of this equation that we also need to touch a little bit on, is that, I had we've had an experience here, a few years back, of a friend of ours, of my family, that, um, She was always into bad boys, bad boys, bad boys, and dating a lot of guys. Eventually, she settled down with someone, another bad boy. Um, why I'm bringing this up is because it's important. The same thing we're talking about. The problem with this one is that this bad boy was really a bad boy. That she settled with this man. They have 3 kids. The abuse was constant, and the isolating her from the family and everything. To make a long story short, is her man, her husband, whatever, unalived her 4 years ago
Mm.
because she finally had enough and left. Unalived her, and she left 3 kids. And but this is the thing, everybody, we were like, you always like bad boys. That's not a good thing. Oh, they're so exciting. No, it's not. Eventually, something. We were always telling her these things, and when we met this man, we were like, no, 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 stay away. But she was in love. Now it turned into a very you know DV, situation. Eventually, she learned the lesson, but it was a little too late. Now there's 3 kids without a mom and without a dad.
Mm.
So we have to think very carefully when we're picking partners. Bad boys are fun. I don't understand that concept because to me, that's not it. I have never liked that, maybe because I'm not like that. So I've never liked that particular type of boys. But, a lot of girls like those, you know, fun partying, whatever, or bad boys as they call.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have to take all this into consideration because they can go too far sometimes. So getting to know ourselves, taking that time to isolate, Marlene, is always think of that. If she would have taken the time, a break, she probably would have never ended up with this person, right? So that's why we need to talk about this and need to give us some me time to rediscover. Maybe that was in high school, but not now. You know, maybe that was so and so, but not now. Now I'm a different person. We need to allow ourselves to grow and to find our likes and dislikes
Yes.
before we go into a relationship.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. I think a lot of times, especially based on age, I really do think that we can't think of the standard that we had when we were a teenager. It's not gonna be the same standard in your 20s or your 30s, 40s, 50s, wherever you are in your chronological age. I just feel that it's important to evaluate what do I need now, not what I used to do, because everybody, as we get older, our speed changes, the needs changes, what is important to us changes, everything shifts
Mm-hmm.
as we mature. So yeah, we have to understand all of those things and not just think, oh, anybody that comes around, because there are some people like actually thirsty like that. Anybody who comes around, they give them a chance. I was like, don't be thirsty, everybody.
Yeah, you said something like that the other day that I thought it was really nice. Don't date thirsty? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's Donna just being real. One of my mods. That's her saying is to date smart, not thirsty.
And that is actually very, very on point, very intelligent because um, I also have noticed, Marlene, that, and we have that the friend or the family member that we feel like is compromising so much, who they are, just to please someone that we see and we're like, this is not gonna last.
Yeah.
This person is not worthy of
Mhm.
my friend or my family member, and you want to voice this, your concerns or your input, but that it's not the right time or the right place or the right person to say
Or
these things.
or here's the biggest one, or that they're not going to listen. You know them, right?
Exactly.
They're gonna go absolutely berserk on you.
Yeah, and they're gonna get even closer to this person. But isolating, I learned when I started, when we went through the whole separation thing, is of course it's a painful thing to go through, right? It's something that you didn't want to happen. But I learned, Marlene, that at the same time, I probably was there already, you know. I was just probably afraid of taking that next step. But and all those things, as I isolated, started coming up. I didn't like this, I didn't like that. Why did I stay for so long? It wasn't even the type of things I like to do, or so all those things that I didn't like but accepted because of me wanting to stay in that relationship, or keep the family going, keep the peace. Those were the actual things that eventually separated us, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it is important.
Yeah, and it's crazy because as we mature, and it's not always mature in, mentally, because I feel like that's one of the biggest places to mature is mentally, like knowing your triggers, like when someone does something, and how you process that, but also maturing emotionally, maturing spiritually, maturing financially. There's lots of ways that we need to level up for ourselves, be fully grown on your own. And that's something that I didn't realize until I was already in a relationship. We tend to go into relationships waiting for the other person to define us, but we need to be defined already. We need to be
Mm.
our whole own person, know what we want, know what we're about before we get with somebody, because somebody's supposed to be an addition to your life. I don't believe in people making each other complete, because nobody is going to complete me. I'm already complete.
There you go. That's wow, what she said. That is exactly why, we need to find out who we are first. Um I've in the mistakes, like we said yesterday, right? It was all him. It wasn't me, Marlene. It was all his fault. But after you do that, at the end of a relationship, after you blame everything on that person, you start seeing the role you played, right? And so by doing all of this, you're the role playing in your head. You actually become a more defined and more clear on what you want moving forward, whether, like I said, it's with a relationship or without. Um,
Mhm.
because a lot of times we blame the other person, we jump into the relationship, and then the next person pays everything that we had against that other person, because we bring that into the relationship. And anything they do, we can start correlating, and then, you know what I mean? Like, we cannot do that to somebody else that probably doesn't have the baggage we do. We have to make sure that, when we come into the new relationship, we are going to see this person for who they are. And even if there is similarities between the two, we have to be desensitized enough and grown enough to know that they're not the same person. But that's only achieved if you have taken the time to find out who you really are and where you stand in this particular time, in this relationship, in this particular relationship.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't do that, and again, I know people end up paying for our mistakes.
Yeah. You're paying for, and we all know about it. It's the ones who always are talking about their ex constantly. All they do is talk about their ex, and I'm like, you are
Mm.
still in love with them. Like, they're still feeling for them. I'm like, what is going on? So it's like, so they haven't allowed themselves to heal from it. And maybe I think a lot of times when people do that, always talking about their ex, is because they knew their fault. They know
Mm.
what they did wrong, and they
Mhm.
were the person who lost a good person. So I believe that's what
Oh
the
yeah,
issue usually is.
I
They
believe.
knew that they messed up.
Yep, I believe the same thing too. That they, and a lot of times, like when you find yourself out and when you have taken that time to really work on yourself, and this person comes back, you know, to see if things can work out, the only way you're not going back to that relationship is if you already work on yourself and you can say, no, I'm sorry. You had this amount of time to see who I was. You never did. So things cannot work out. But you can say that only and not take them back only if you have worked yourself on yourself first. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And you know, because I've seen that those break up go back, break up go back, break up go
Yeah.
back relationships. I was actually with someone the other day that was telling me that she went out on a date with you know, like a blind date type of thing, mutual
Yeah.
friends, and she went out on the blind date, and this guy was showing her all of the things that his ex was doing now. Can you believe? I mean, I'm not with her. I left her, but yeah, he was following her on Facebook, I guess, or whatever. And she's like looking at him like, we're on a date. Why are you telling me all about
Unbelievable.
your ex? Yes. And he was like, you know, whenever I was with her, she never wanted to do this. And look, she's doing it now. And she's looking at him like, I think I have to go now. This date is over. But the entire time, like you say, he was talking about how the ex messed up, how the ex was this, how the ex was that. And yet following her and talking about her the whole time. So my
Yep.
this person told her, you know what, I feel that you're unavailable, so you know, thank you for the date and everything. And but she's like, you know, it was so sad to see that even after this whole time, and this is a mature man, is not a kid. Even after all this time, he's still like a high schooler. He's still back then, you know, he hasn't grown at all. I don't want that. I don't want to carry that baggage myself, she said. So he called her back and asked for another date, and she's like, no. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but no. But yeah, the whole time it was talking about what the ex was doing,
Right.
what she didn't want to do with him but is doing with the new person. And
You
what the
know,
heck?
see, I want to say, I want to add something to that. You know, that's the funny part is because I found myself in that same situation. When you were with a certain person, they would ask you to do something, you didn't want to do it. And I will tell you why. You know, the answer to his question, why she wants to do that with somebody else, is because maybe when she would ask you to do something, you would be complaining about it, or
Mm.
you're there but you're not there, you know, in the moment. You're on your phone, you're complaining, when are we going? Oh, I could be at home, I could be watching the game, I could be doing this. So of course when you have somebody else and they're like, hey, let's go here, like they're happy to do something with you. That is the difference between two people. Even though you would have went with somebody, but were you going with your the right intentions? Like, what was your heart on it? Like, what was your attitude? Do you make them feel good while they were doing what they wanted to do, or were you there acting like a 2 year old sulking?
Mm-hmm. Were you ready or and willing, or were you just okay? If you want to do it, let's go. But I don't like so and so, your friend, and I don't like this, and I don't like that. So, you know, but she said that you know she felt uncomfortable. She goes, I felt very uncomfortable. And the second thing is, she says we were sitting there for like 20 minutes, and he had already had 3 or 4 glasses of wine. So
Mm,
she's like, I'm not a big drinker, so I was kind of uncomfortable. And funny thing, she said, you know, before I would have never seen these things. I would have
yeah.
just said, oh my God, it's so amazing, I'm getting set up. But she goes, now that I'm alone, I've been working on myself, I started catching things up. Like, no, he drinks too much. This is, I mean,
Yeah.
4 glasses of
you
wine.
you can, yeah, it's like when you start working on yourself and you check yourself, like, wait a minute, how many drinks did you have? And wait a minute, I thought you were going to do this. Like, when you check yourself, you can easily check another person. And
Mm-hmm.
I have to highlight this comment from Eastad. He says, I am a man of light, of course far from perfect, but I can admit when I'm wrong. And I feel like that's something that I wouldn't say it's age related, because mine was, I was the right age to be in a relationship, but I was not ready to go back and work on my issues that I had before the relationship. So my issues in my relationships previous to that one had nothing to do with them. My
Mm-hmm.
issues was I didn't want to deal with issues that were all compounding, and then he just happened to be there when
Mm-hmm.
the what do you call it, when the when the rug was pulled from underneath me, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
it was all those things. So it's not it's like you don't get things until you get it. It's just like one day I woke up like, huh, not gonna do that anymore. Oh, oh, okay. It's like, and I started saying, I'm sorry, thank you. Like, and they're like, whoa, whoa, wait, but you didn't do that with me. No, because I wasn't there. Okay, bye-bye.
Exactly. And sometimes you have to, to admit that, you are wrong. That's sometimes
Mhm.
that's hard, to say, I make these mistakes. I am wrong. I
Mhm.
cause a lot of the you know a lot of the breakup.
Issues.
Yeah, a
Mhm.
lot of the breakup, the reason why we broke up, or I wasn't at the right time or there when he or she needed me. Those things are important for us to admit, because then, moving forward into a new relationship, you're already there. You're gonna be able to
Yep.
say, you know what, I'm big, I'm grown, I can
Yep.
admit when I make mistakes and when I'm wrong.
Yep.
But I like the fact that she said, now that I have been alone and I have been working on myself, I can see things like that. I can put them in perspective. Is this something I'm gonna like? I mean, this is our first time going out, four
Mhm.
drinks already. It's that's a little too much. Maybe he's an alcoholic. So she started
Yep.
saying all those things. She's like, I left half of the bill money, and I left because the entire time was all about the ex. and
Mm.
and that she's like, that didn't bother me as much as how much he was drinking, because she's
Mhm.
not a drinker. She doesn't drink a lot. Maybe once a year a glass of wine. So it is important for us to know that, when we start working on ourselves, we're going to be able to pick the right person for us,
Mhm.
someone that is very compatible to what we like and what we dislike. They
Yep.
cannot be the same as us, because that will never happen, right? But they
Mhm.
can be, 80% or 60%, whatever percentage it is, that it's gonna be compatible to you,
Yep.
so
You
things can
have to
work out.
you have to ask yourself, like, am I in a place in my life where I can be accountable, that I can communicate, that I can know when my mental health is off, when I know how to, when I know how to encourage myself. See, that's a thing that a lot of people don't understand, how important that is in any relationship that you are in, not just romantic, with your relatives, with your job. You have to be the person to encourage yourself. You can't wait for another person to give you the encouragement that you need to pour into yourself, to know, like, she needs a break. I know how to say that these days. I don't have to wait for somebody in the relationship to say, hey, sit down. When I know I need to sit down, I'm sitting down. I'm taking a few days off. And I don't need anybody else's permission to do so.
It's true. And another thing that you have to also learn is to, um, because sometimes we say things that are offensive to others, or we say them in a way that can affect the other person, even if we think that we don't, or that we haven't really said anything that is different. Sometimes the deliverance of the message is what can create problems. I had to learn that myself. I had to learn that it wasn't just um, it wasn't me being honest or real. It was the way I was delivering those messages, the way I was saying them, that was actually offending the other person, was actually making that person feel bad. And sometimes we have to take a step back and work on us, so that we can find better ways of communication. because like I said, Marlene, when I went back to, after my separation, I went back and I said, this is what happened. And I was talking to my therapist, and then he's like, okay, so what role did you play? And I was like, what? Okay,
You're
hold
like,
on.
say what?
No, no,
Me?
no, no, listen, didn't you hear
I'm
what I just said?
perfect.
No,
So,
Marlene, I'm perfect. I said, what do you mean? The role I,
yeah.
what do you mean? He caused this. He did this. He did that. And he said, oh, okay. I thought you guys were in a relationship together, but I see it was just his relationship with you. And I said, well, but didn't you hear what I said? He said, yes, but what was your role to get to
Mhm.
this point? And
Yeah.
I left very upset. I was like, oh, he's not listening. As always, not listening to what I just said. It's his
Mhm.
fault. I mean, seriously, like you're thinking it's my fault. But you need to step back as well and take that time to work on you
Mhm.
so that you can see also why is it that the relationships you're in don't work out or end up the same way or
Right.
similar way, right?
Yes. And I'm so glad you brought that up because that's the same thing my therapist said to me too. She said to me, but what did you allow in what did
Mm.
you allow? Yes, they did that, but how much did you allow before you said, hold on, when did you speak up for yourself? It's like a lot of times we put up with so much. We just keep taking one thing after another. They just hurt you, lying, this one, cheating,
Mm-hmm.
everything is happening in that relationship, and you just keep like, whatever, I can't deal with it. Until one day it's like you come to a point where like you're full and like, I can't do this anymore. But you have to ask yourself, like, when things happen, how much do I allow? Am I
Mm-hmm.
speaking up for myself when I should have walked away, right, a long
Mm-hmm.
time ago? Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what he said. What role did you play? Because a relationship is of two people,
Hmm.
not just of one. And just blaming the other person does is not going to fix your problem. And I was like, what? Again, I'm leaving. That's it. I'm done. I don't need to deal with this. This is not what I'm paying you for. This is not what I call you for. He
Hmm.
did this to us. But in the same now, like I said, we can make light of it and laugh and whatever, but in the same way, we need to find our voice. Because when we snap, like you said, I had enough. When you snap and you bring that lion out, the lioness out, and they're like, whoa, who is
Yeah.
this? Because you've been silent for so long, you have been
Yeah.
taking so much for so long, that when you use your voice is for destruction.
Yeah, it's like it's just like what they talk about the tongue. The tongue can start a woodland fire. Like you,
Hmm.
it's like you could say so many things. Either you could heal, or you can hurt people. So you have to learn that when it gets to a point where you start hurting me, I have to start thinking about my healing.
Hmm.
That's how. And I was like, I never really thought about that until I went to therapy. That when we allow negativity, when we let people do things to us, like people who lie to us, people who mislead us, people who are not supportive, who don't care, give us any emotional support, is just like nothing. And I'm not throwing any shots at any men, but I'm just talking about the one that I dealt with. um I have to say, I understand that it's not always comfortable for a man to express his emotions, because of how society is or the way that you're raised. But if you never give somebody that emotional support, how long do you think somebody is going to stick around?
Hmm.
Like,
Exactly.
like, dude, it's like I feel like, you feel so alone for so long. Then one day they're making, oh, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna do better. No, I gave you all of this opportunity to make changes and you didn't. So
Hmm.
stick a fork in me, I'm done.
And that's what I said. And that's when, my therapist said, yeah, but what role did you play? And I was like, I didn't know what he meant at that particular time, but then I had to go back and say, yes, I allowed this to happen. I was the one who didn't say anything. I was the one who was allowing this to continue. That's what he meant. Even though I got upset, I found at the end that what he was saying is, by you staying silent, by you not correcting, and you don't have to yell, you don't have to scream, you don't have to be belligerent. You can sit down with someone and talk. You can bring it up in a way that it will make sense, that it will stick. So by allowing this to happen for so long, either miscommunication, not having enough time as a couple, things like that. So you have to find out the role that you played so that you can correct that about you, and then the next relationship, not make the same mistakes. And
Yeah.
it's hard. It's one of the hardest things that you're going to do in a breakup, is find out the role you played.
Yeah. And that's how you not only you heal, that's how you mature, and that's how you also get your joy back, because I can't speak for everybody, but behind a lot of times behind a relationship you're doing so much compromising, so much settling, being so selfless that you never put anything into yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're not pouring any love, any consideration, any compassion. You actually just feel like you're just by yourself, even though you're in a relationship. And you have to ask yourself, like, what do I need to do to feel like me again? Because you gets lost in the shuffle. You don't even, who am I anymore? Like,
Mm-hmm.
all I am was the person who supported this person in the relationship, but I was never supported.
Mm.
So what do I want and what do I need? And each person has to look and define that for themselves.
There you go. Exactly. Exactly. And you will only do that if you take the time to find yourself again, which is why, this topic is so important. We need to find who we are, because we're not the same person we were in high school, right? We're not the same person we were 2 years ago. Well, let's not go too far. 2 months ago. You know what I mean? We change. We're constantly changing because we're constantly learning. And as you get older, your likes and dislikes change. As you get more mature, same thing. So we need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, because mentally and emotionally, because only then we're going to be able to have healthy relationships.
Yes. That's the only way. And I hate to say it. I hate to be, putting things on parents all the time, but a lot of us were not raised about, to talk about healthy relationship, like, looking for red flags and what you should and what you shouldn't do, and, think about yourself, and you should feel supported and loved. It's no perfect relationship, but if you feel that you're always it's a one-sided thing all the time, everybody has to compromise. Both need to be compromising. But when you feel like you're the only one compromising, I wish more parents would say that's the time for you to walk away.
Mm-hmm. And it you're right. It is not, it feels weird to always be talking about the parents, but those are, parents are the ones that give us, the first lesson in love on how to be, because they raise us, right? So we have to, from time to time, revisit that, because it's where everything came from. It's where we got defined and, turned into who we are. And in part, it has to be, brought into the mix, because a lot of people have children, are having children, and it's important to bring awareness that we need to be very involved in our kids as well. Make sure that we are bringing them up with the right amount of, knowledge, the right amount of, knowing your limits, and being able to verbally voice their likes, dislikes, and their feelings, because that's something that you need to teach. It's not something that you just learn.
Yeah, and that's so true. I'm so glad that you said that because most of us, the relationship that you have with your parents, you really don't know how scarred you are with the relationships that you have until you get into a relationship, and a serious one, and then you find out like, why do I accept this? Why do I think that this is okay? And we have to want to do better so that we don't make a generations you know of kids who stay in bad relationships, who feel that they always have to be the one compromising. Everybody deserves to not only give but also to receive love. And that's something that I thought that I felt guilty to even speak of that, even to say those words like I need this or that. I kind of made assumptions into thinking because this person was somebody how I feel. But if we don't speak up for ourselves and say, I need X, Y, and Z, they would never know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We have to let the our partners know how we're feeling, because they're not mind readers, right? I've heard that a lot, and I was like, what does that even mean? But it's in reality, it's something that it's your own feelings. It's not that other, your significant other's feelings. It's your own. So what you don't like or like can only be known if you voice it, if you say, hey, I don't like this, hey, I really do like this. So you have to, and that comes again from the way you're raised. If you are raised in an environment where you can actually voice your feelings, and they teach you how to do it, they bring you up, with that particular way of being, you're going to be more likely to voice your likes and dislikes. But if you're brought up in a household where these things are not discussed, what's wrong with you, why you keep on bringing things up like that, we don't do that in this family, then you're setting your kids up for failure.
Yeah, you really are. And it's so sad. And that's why I'm so grateful for having conversations like this. And I feel like this was an amazing one, Nexie. And I just want to say, you know, don't be afraid to isolate yourself so that you can really transform into being exactly who you need to be, because so many times we compromise who we are, what we want, um even putting our dreams on the back burner to make who we're in a relationship with happy, but all the meanwhile we're miserable, you
And
know.
actually we put our dreams in the back to make their dreams come true. And when it's our time, there's never time for them to do that for us. So, again, Marlene, thank you for having me. Great topic. We need more of this, because, I have found, in the line of work I do and in life, that there's more people like us brought up in this type of environments than I would like, that I really like. So we need to bring them up. We need to raise awareness so that, parents also can change maybe their tactics, even if it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, I
And
like
before
that.
Yeah, and before I go, I have to highlight this comment from Sirius. She said, "You can't start a new chapter in your life if you keep reading the last one. I'm not
Mm,
going to be someone's option. I'm a priority."
so
Yeah,
true, serious,
I love
so
that. I love
true.
that
I
very
love it. I love it.
yes.
Very,
So thank
very
you
true.
so much, Nexie.
Thank you for having me, Marlene. Again, great topic. And thank you, everybody, for coming. We
Yes,
really appreciate it.
yes, I really do appreciate it. And we're heading over to members only. Click the link, it's on the community tab. So thank you guys. And like I always say, just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Be encouraged, be inspired, be yourself, you will survive. Just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life.
Forgive me, I love me. I've been blessed that I have made it through. I'm stronger and worthy. I am enough now. What about you? I forgive me, I love me. I've been blessed that I have made it through. I'm stronger and worthy. I am enough now. What about you?